North Coast Golf is a golf glove and accessory company with so much more. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about that. We've got Matt Fernandez, the owner of North Coast Golf, here to talk to us about this. And I love the gloves. You've got the hoodie on. I love the hoodie. All the gear. We were talking a little bit off camera. I tend to get lost in your website because there's so much to look at.
For sure.
Wanted to give people a look at who you guys are,
Yeah.
how you started, and maybe where you're going as well. And so, like I said, you've got golf gloves, you've got hoodies, hats, a little bit of everything. But let's take a step back. How did the company start? Because you're based in Michigan. North Coast kind of plays off of the Michigan aspect. How did this all start for you?
Yeah, so we started in 2019, but it really started probably a year and a half before that, 2018. So I was just finishing up college at the time. Had some businesses in college, knew they weren't really long-term businesses, so I kind of had practice in the business aspect, but really wanted to create my own brand after college. And, with that, it was like I took a job, worked for a year, and at the same time, we did R&D. The whole time, so hard. Would not settle on something that we didn't think was the best glove out there. It had to match premium performance, that feel when you put on a quality glove, but also have style that we felt was kind of missing from the scene. So 18 months, fast forward, we got the gloves finally after so many bad suppliers that are like, oh yeah, we got the best ones, and you get them and you're like, what is this?
Right. Yep.
But then it was kind of, to the point where did we want the brand to go and what did we want to be? And that's, in 2018, summer of 2018, I took a trip to northern Michigan for the first time in like 4 or 5 years with my girlfriend at the time, now fiance. And thank you, appreciate that. But it really just like blew my mind all over again. Like I feel like when you're a kid and you go up north, you don't realize what you have until you don't go up there for a certain amount of years, and you're like, this place is unbelievable, right? Like the adventure, the boating, the small towns, all of it. So we were playing Arcadia Bluffs, and the sun's coming down. Perfect day out there, like just a perfect day, very idyllic. And turned around, I think it was like the 14th hole, and was looking back to it, and was like, why don't we just call it North Coast, right?
Yeah. And
play off that northern Michigan lifestyle. Because, there's brands on the West Coast, brands on the East Coast, but it felt like there was something missing, kind of, I don't want to say Midwest, but Midwest-ish, Michigan-ish. And we kind of just ran for it from there. And, I think as good as the gloves are, without that storytelling and kind of the branding behind it, we would kind of just get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. The storytelling, I think, is a huge part of it, especially on social. When you look at your accounts, that part of it, I feel like it adheres the consumer and the viewer to the brand. Definitely. But it also kind of tells the backstory of what these are and what the brand's trying to be. Some of those stories that you have told, what are some of your favorites? Either experiences, courses, where you've been, where the brand has been too, maybe?
Yeah, so like we were just talking about, New Zealand, TRA Links down there, that's obviously a big one for us. We've done some custom deals. We've been lucky enough to do Crystal Downs, Kingsley, High Point, been lucky enough to play all those. So those are like the Michigan gyms. Oakland Hills is on the list. We haven't got it yet, but if you guys are listening to this. But yeah, I think, and just from a storytelling perspective, I like to find the stories that aren't so mainstream and kind of bring those to light. And I feel like that's what people kind of grasp onto. Maybe it's an area in Michigan, maybe it's a small town course, or anything like that. And, I think we can highlight and show off the best courses all we want, but it's really the small ones, the hidden gems and things like that people really gravitate towards. Yeah,
and you mentioned North Coast. Now, it's Michigan specific, but it isn't really Michigan specific either, where this doesn't scream Michigan to me. Definitely. If someone is outside of the state, this isn't going to stand out in a bad way of this Definitely. Is very Michigan specific. But I think the designs are really cool. When you talk about gloves, a lot of times we're limited, right? It's just a white glove. But some of the designs that you do have, you've got blue, we've got green. We also have Bogey.
We've got Bogey.
Can we call him your mascot? The bear? Is that?
Yeah, we can call him the mascot for sure. He's definitely a big part. And the whole idea behind that, I think it was like winter of 2021 maybe. And we were kind of looking for that mascot-ish character, and just sitting down, kicking ideas around, and we kind of landed on this Bogey the Bear character, playing off of Smokey the Bear a little bit, only you can prevent bad bogeys and whatnot. And then the kind of pull all together was like, let's do kind of like a sustainable initiative behind this, where every time we sell a product with bogey on it, we plant a tree in an area of need. So I think we're close to 15,000
Wow.
trees planted. So basically, that is just like, one tree planted will have projects in rainforest or national parks or areas that have been destroyed by forest fires, and they go in and they have a team that plants the trees, and we basically invest in that for them planted. So I think when we started, 15,000 sounded crazy, but now it's like, why can't we double or triple that in the next couple of years, right?
Sure. Yeah. Outside of bogey, with the designs that I was mentioning here, and we'll show a little bit of this as well. But what went into the design aspect or the aesthetic aspect of this? You mentioned the premium quality, but standing out a little bit with the designs that you have too. What went into that decision to make these a little bit unique?
Yeah, I think when we started, there was all white gloves and then full color gloves.
Right.
And we wanted to kind of bring the two together where it's like, in my personal opinion, I think a full red or orange glove is like way too loud for me personally. But I want a little more than just all white. So I want something to match my outfit or my pants or just something that gives a little flash of color. So that's why I was like, well, maybe we just do blue tab or double stripe wrist, and people can kind of pick and choose what they want. And then we started doing a little printing of patterns and things on it too. So we can do a ton with it. And that's where it gets really fun working with courses and different custom events where it's like we can give them 10 or 20 options, and their mind's blown a little bit because they're used to just the all white glove or, putting a different logo on there and something like that. And obviously we can do something as simple like that, but when we can add a touch of color that matches their club colors or something like that, it just adds another element to it that people really, really love.
Yeah, it becomes a functional fashion piece, right?
Exactly.
It's not too loud, but you're adding a little pop of color. You do have other things outside of gloves. We mentioned you're wearing the hoodie with bogey, the chenille pocket on there, the chenille patch on there as well. Where do you see this going? Are you sticking to what you know and trying to conquer that, or are we going to expand into other things?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think we never want to leave gloves to the side at all. Like we always want gloves to be kind of the bread and butter, right? But we do want to expand out, but not too far where we lose who we are. So I think about like anything that we're gonna do or make, it's got to be high quality. It's got to fit into what we're doing. It just can't be a random product that we just source from wherever, and it's like, why do they have this, right? Like I want everything to kind of fit together under the brand, but at the same time, try different things and explore and see what kind of catches. And honestly, when we started, I wanted nothing to do with apparel, and we still don't want to do a ton, but I think people really like repping the brand and wearing the brand. And, obviously you can wear gloves in the course, but you can't really rep that outside the course. So over the last few years, that's what we've started to add a little more. And I think we won't necessarily be doing the manufacturing ourselves, but we want to partner with cool companies who are doing, similar like-minded things that kind of do the best apparel, and we'll, partner with them. That's how I kind of think about it. As much as we can do, we'll do, and then we'll also collab with other cool brands and like-minded brands to create other cool things.
Yeah, we talked about the storytelling a little bit. You and I were talking about your social. I think you guys do such a great job with your social. We've looked at it, tried to mimic some of that. How much of that do you think plays into the success that you all have had, being able to tell your story, but also showcase what these are and what people can get out of it?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Like I said, without the storytelling side and the content side, we'd be just another brand trying to sell you a glove. So I think, diving into why we make the products, diving into more about the brand or cool stories that people can kind of connect with, really has taken us to another level in that aspect. Because, like I said, you can put your name on a glove and put it out there, but it doesn't really make sense. And even, I find it harder to go to trade shows and things like that and talk about it rather than just, look at our social or look at our website or whatever it might be, because that kind of encapsulates everything better than I can do explaining it.
Yeah. Well, Michigan, I know we talked about is a big part of the story. Why is that important to your roots of everything? You talked about the genesis of the company, your experience up north.
Yeah.
Why is that such a foundational piece?
Yeah, because I think, there's so many people that love Northern Michigan and have, family cabins up there or have stories from when they were younger. So it's really just getting back to the roots, and whether it's spending time with family or friends, I think Northern Michigan is a place that just connects people. And when you're sitting in the office on a Monday in the winter, you're thinking about Northern Michigan in the summer,
Yeah.
or whatever it might be. So I think that's a big thing too, is just like keeping Michigan top of mind year round instead of just somewhere you can go a couple months. And I think that's what we want to dive into more is make it a four seasons paradise instead of come and go in the summer and see you later type thing.
Yeah. North Coast Golf. They've got gloves, accessories, Bogey the Bear as well. It's quality, a little bit of fashion as well.